Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi! I am going to be using all of these. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be using all of these. Quite a few of them, though. I did some teeny tiny things, I think last week, and I asked my subscribers if they wanted to see me do some tiny food. So, I found out my cutters, got out my coloured clay, and I'm going to crack on and see if I can make some realistic food. Stick around, because I was amazed. Seriously amazed. So this clay is from The Works. It's only £2 for about 6 cubes of clay, and it's not bad. It's really not bad. Colours are limited, which is fine, because you can mix them, and I do mix them a couple of times in this video because the colours aren't quite what I want, and I do think I should have really mixed the colours a little bit for the chopping boards. As you can see, I've got chopping board cutters. I don't know why I tried this one first. It didn't work. It looks like a donut. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for a straight circle. But these chopping boards are very cute. And you can see how small the chopping board is. Now, I'm going to be making food to fit on these chopping boards. I'm going to be making like charcuterie boards. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Charcuterie. Yes? Yes. And I'm going to be doing 3 of them. And I'm going to add a bowl of, well, could be olives. It could be blueberries. I'm not quite sure. And a little pot of jam. I'm also going to be making some tiny cutlery out of UV. You don't see me do that one though, because that is really painstakingly tiny. And yeah, I did think I was going to mess up. Now, I'm putting some detail by... Oh, thank you to all my subscribers, my members, my watchers, my likers, and those who stick to the end. That's the most important bit. I love you all. Ew. I'm putting some little details in by just making lines of wood, like wood designs. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about today. I've been away today on a day trip just to the seaside, and oh my God. You know when you think you've reached your limit? Yeah, half an hour in, I reached my limit. But 5 hours later, I tried to get in the car, and it was not fun. So I'm absolutely shattered and in pain. And if I start to garble, I do apologise. But I had a really good time. But I forget just how hard it is to walk on sand, when you can barely walk as it is some days. So yeah, sand is not helpful. But boy, it was good. Just standing there listening to the sea. And yes, I had to get my feet wet. And yes, I did panic because I am a little bit afraid of the sea, although I love it. I almost drowned when I was 15 in like the tiniest amount of seawater. So yeah, I kind of panicked a bit today. But yeah, I'm going to go back to the video now and short waffling. I put in the wood grain design, and now I'm going to be making all kinds of teeny tiny food. And when I say teeny tiny, I mean, oh my God, I can't see what I'm doing tiny. At the minute I'm making pepperoni slices, or that other ham based meats. No, I'm not. I'm actually thinking I'm going to try making tomatoes. It didn't work. And I said that quite posh, tomatoes. Usually just call them toms. So and then I decide I'm just going to make some, that word I've just said. Yeah. Oh, pepperoni, there we go. But the pepperoni needs to have little fat bits in. So I am just rolling this little bit of yellow into a very, 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 very thin, very small snake. And I'm just chopping off teeny tiny bits just to put the fat into the meat. In fact, I'm not even sure it's pepperoni. It could be that other meat that I just can't think of. I do like charcuterie boards. I am a huge fan of meat and cheese. Cheese is not a fan of me, but I love cheese. I think I'm going to come back as a cat or a mouse. Actually, mice aren't that happy about cheese. They prefer chocolate. Now, rats and cats love cheese. And I love cheese. Cheese is like, except for that blue stinky stuff. Nope. Can't stand that. But yeah, I'm making lots of little slices. And as you can see, they're not even as big as my fingernail. They are so small. Very small. And I have got lots of little moulds around. And I'm not sure at the moment which ones I want to use. But I will give you a spoiler. I make a bagel. I even put filling inside and sauce and tomato and cheese and lettuce and oh, it's so cute. Did I ever tell you I really, really like tiny things? So I am now making a croissant. And you can excuse the colour of some of the bread because I do paint over the top. Just a little bit of a wash with brown and water and then dab it off. But I'm also going to make some crackers, which is what these are. But I make several different sizes and several colours. So you've got like a wheat germ, a normal tack. Oh my god, what are those biscuits called? They're cheesy. I can't remember, but they're nice anyway. And they look like them teeny tiny squares that you probably can't even see because they're that teeny tiny. Now, this is a baguette, and I break it in half and then cut a little bit off just to make crumbs. And yes, I will bake these all on this tile. Now, this tile will end up being absolutely chock-a-block full. I will have to keep moving stuff around just so I can get more things on. I'm also going to be making a sausage, bologna, I think, some grapes, some sliced rolled up ham, some avocados, some, I want to say caviar. It could also be a mint jelly or a bit of jam. I'm also going to be making some Parma ham. I think there's 3 different sets of cheese. There is, yes, there's 3, I can see it now. And some blueberries, or you can say olives. I'm going to say olives. And then the blueberry bowl, maybe. But I had so much fun making these. Admittedly, I made some before I went to Skeg and finished them off. Well, it wasn't Skeg, it was Seaside. It wasn't quite there. And then I finished it all off when I come back, and now I'm doing the voiceover. And I am going to have an early night. Because, ouch. Seriously. Ouch. I've got to think now, what's this bit? Oh, I don't know. What's that? Oh, these are the little olive slices, and yeah, they end up being too big. Far too big. But I'm going to make like little lettuce leaves too. And I don't know what to actually do with these. Whether I put these in, make a little kitchen and put these in, or make them into little charms, but then I have made them into like what is that word I'm looking for? Like you're actually using them, because I put the forks and the spoons and the knives sort of upwards, so you can actually see that somebody's trying to pick something up with them. I don't know. The little bowl that you see at the end is made out of a plastic eyeball. All I did was I lost the actual pupil, and I thought, I can't throw that away. That looks really dinky. It looks like a proper little bowl, and it is perfect. I mean, it's a bit big for these as a bowl, but because everything does kind of work. They're just, I love them. I think they're really cute. My head didn't like them after I'd finished, because, well, it gave me a headache. But, yeah. But I do want to explore using pastels or chalks to colour with, rather than paint, and do it before I bake, just to see what the difference is. Because I watch people making stuff out of tiny stuff all the time, out of polymer clay and things, and people use different techniques, and I just thought, maybe they would look better if they were used with chalk, pastels and stuff like that. So that'll be another one eventually. This I'm making just leaves out a bit of green, and used a bit of a cutter, but I've got that many tiny little bits, the cutters were not actually fitting onto the little bit that I got left. So I'll make some dark green and some light green. See, I think the only thing that lets this down is the colours aren't quite right. I mean, the avocado slices really could have done with being a bit lighter, or a bit more yellowed rather than bright green. And the bagel bread possibly could have been a bit more brown or speckled rather than marbly. So you'll have to tell me what you think. Did it work? Do they look mini? Do they look real? This bit is the Parma ham, I think. Yes, it is. And I'm trying to make just little pieces that I can stick together. And I put a little bit of white in, because Parma ham usually has the little fat streaks through it. Oh, I love Parma ham. I could eat that all day long. I'm definitely a meat eater. I couldn't be a vegetarian. As much as I like animals, yeah, I can't be a veggie. I like my food. So I'm trying to sort of like crease it up so it looks like it's just been rolled onto something. And some I'm going to put together. I put it all together here, but one of them falls off, which is even better, because then I can put it on a different plate. Chopping board. This took me ages. It wasn't until I did the red cheese, which is Edam, that I clicked on what I was doing wrong. And this is like a mild soft cheese. I couldn't tell you the name of the cheese I was trying to do, but yeah. I do try and do a holy cheese. It's like a Swiss cheese. There is a name for it here. Lead something or other. That's a very nice cheese. Very nice. So I faff with this one a lot. And I end up squishing the end off. But then I like it because it looks like it's just been sliced. So it worked. But you can see just how tiny everything is. And how careful I'm being. And it's a lot easier to use the blade to do some of the modelling. Because my fingers are just huge compared to the stuff. And I've got clay up my nails. I've got bits of black up there with clay that I tried to make purple grapes. I mixed a bit of blue and red, I think. because the purple just wasn't dark enough for grapes. But I'm going to just I want to make all these tiny little pieces of food. I do a banana too, that's at the top, it's sliced. I don't use the banana though, because it doesn't quite fit in with the food types. So what I've made a lot of, so I'm going to save it in my little pots, my little boxes. I've got quite a little stash of food now. Some I've made, some I've bought. Every time I've seen like cheap plastic toys, Poundland, awesome for little tiny sausages and stuff like that, for £1. Not everything's £1 though, not in there, Christ. I'm now running another snake so I can make, what I was trying to do was make mayonnaise. It didn't work, so I've kept that for something else. May use it as a coffee top or something, I don't know, but it doesn't work for what I need it. But it won't get wasted. Nothing ever gets wasted, unfortunately, because that means I don't throw anything away, which is bad. This is now the olives, and some of them I make far too big. Olives or blueberries, sorry, you can class them as whatever you want. I kind of thought that the olives in the ones in the bowl could be olives in a pickle, or it could be blueberries in a sauce. I mean, blueberries, they do go quite nice with your ham and your cheeses. Oh, yum yum yum. And I'm just trying to make little holes using my pin. I have no idea where I've got this pin from, but it works a treat for making holes or little dimples. And I just kept looking at them and thinking, these are massive compared to the meat slicers. These aren't going to work. Now, I have not done sizes properly with these. I eyeball everything. If I had to measure everything, I think I would lose the fun in it. So now is my Edam cheese. I love Edam cheese. And it comes in a red wax thing. Red wax coating. So I've made my white cheese and now I've got to cover it in wax. I rolled over the top just to make sure it was nice and flat, but I didn't want to squish it too much. So now I want my wax to only be very, very thin. So I tried folding it over, not big enough. So I cut it, but left a little bit around just so I could fold it over. And then I saved the bits that were left over together in a pile. So then I could do the top. And what I'll do is I'll use my knife just to smooth it around and make sure there's no little white holes. But if there is little white holes, that's fine. It just means it's normal. Now, it was very difficult picking the thin pieces up off the tile, but it worked. And I just have this tiny little white dot when I've finished, and that's also fine. And what I'm going to do is, I think I cut it before I bake it, take out a slice of it, but then after it's baked I decided I need more thin slices because the thick slices were too thick. So it was easier to cut when it was cooked. But that's my Edam cheese. So now these have been painted and I'm just going to show you how I got the grain to show up a little bit more. And that is just using a brown acrylic paint with water washed over the top. And you can see it seeps into the line, so you now can see that it's a wooden board. And what I'll do is I'll get my baby wipe and I shall just pat it, not too much, because you want to leave the paint behind. So that's those now looking like wood. So I'm going to start fixing things together. And I've got a ton of food that you can see at the top of the screen. And I needed some glue, but I didn't want to put it on my mat. because it's super glue and it ruins your silicone mats. So now I'm going to build up my bagel, and I love this bagel. This bagel is so sweet. It is really sweet. So I'm putting on my lettuce leaves. I'm just putting 2 on. Don't want too much greenery. And then I put on the tomato slice that I've made. A lot of these I've done off camera because otherwise we'd be here all year. And I'm looking for my cheese. And I'm like, where's my cheese? And I found it. My holy cheese. My Swiss, oh dear. Teeth. Swiss cheese. Oh, a bit like my brain really. Swiss cheese. Can't get in for holes. And then I decide to put my bagel lid on the top, and there we go. That's one bagel finished. But I now need to fill up my board with all the other foods, and deciding what goes where is quite tricky when you're limited with space. So I kind of just wedge it in and hope for the best. Now that wasn't stuck on, it just plopped off. I put the glue in the wrong place, so it wasn't actually touching anything and just went dry anyway. So you can see my little croissant and my bread and my avocados, my cheese. There's lots of cheese. And you can see in front of my hand, well, just underneath my hand, there's a knife, fork and spoon. You may have to squint because right now they are clear on a blue background. Right where my finger is, right there, look. And I will be painting them with acrylic pen, chrome marker. Just so 1, you can actually see them, and 2, they look like metal cutlery. So I'm putting on some bologna, no, not bologna, pepperoni. And I'm also putting on just a few bits and bobs of cheese and crackers, and just filling the board up, but not too much that it looks a bit naff. And I proper enjoyed making these. I love tiny stuff, I really do. Actually, there's quite a lot of things I love, but I'm a swine for Miniverse. Miniverse toys, especially the food ones or the plants. I really like those. They're really expensive, and I tend to wait until I find them on offer, like they've gone down about £4 before I'll buy them. But I do love them. I think I've got quite a few I've not actually done because I want to use them in something. I have a box full of mini type things, and it all stems from Kinder Egg toys. I first got a Kinder Egg toy and it came with a toy, and I was like, oh my god. You know, back when toys were good. And there's that one done. So I need to do all 3, and I'll come back and I shall do the finishing touches. I'm going to use some UV because I want to make some parts of it shiny. Not all of it. Like, I want the meat to be a bit shiny. I want the spoon, knife, fork to sit in nicely. And I want the cheese to be shiny. But I don't want the crackers. And I don't want the bread shiny. So everything but the bread and crackers, really. Oh dear. But yeah, like I was saying, Kinder Toys, I have got the lions, the turtles, proper little statues. Now they're like really cheap, nasty plastic. They used to be really good toys. And I must have over 300. They're all in a drawer for me to use in miniature stuff, but I look at them and think, I can't do it. They're so pretty. There's cars, there's turtles, there's animals, there's all sorts. Oh, even these weird little shaped things. But yeah, I have a real thing for Kinder Toys. Never liked the chocolate. Really didn't like the chocolate. I'd eat it, but didn't like it. But yeah, I love Kinders. I love tiny stuff. Anything tiny. I had my own doll's house that I was building up until my cat sat on the roof. That's not the one that was the Burton house. I still haven't finished that one. So I'm going to finish this off. Got all the shiny bits on that I need to be shiny. On the meat, I just put shiny bits on the yellow, not the actual meat. So yeah, discount codes are below, and thank you to those who use them. Every little does help. I also have a wish list, buy me a coffee, blah blah thing. But liking, commenting and sharing and hyping if you can is really good. I'll take some photos and I shall see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.